10-year-old Aryan wasn't like most kids. While others played video games, Aryan loved maps, explorer books, and wild animals. His room was filled with binoculars, hanging compasses, and a big hand-drawn map labeled The Great Jungle. His fascination came from stories his grandfather told, tales of Van Raksh, a mystical jungle where animals spoke in riddles and trees whispered secrets. According to his grandfather, Van Raksh was alive, ancient, and protected by unseen forces. That summer, Aryan's parents sent him to spend the holidays in Darnipur, a quiet village near the jungle. Locals spoke of Van Raksh with respect and fear. "Never go beyond the stone with the owl carving," warned the elders. "That's where the jungle listens." Aryan was curious. One hot afternoon, while tracing paths on his map, he heard a strange sound, not birds or wind. It was soft, like whispering. A gust of wind blew his map away. As he chased it, something shiny caught his eye in the bushes. It was a small, golden compass. Its needle spun, then stopped, pointing into the forbidden part of the forest. On the back, in faded letters, were the words, "When the leaves whisper, the forest is calling." That night, Aryan couldn't sleep. What if the stories were real? Holding the compass tight, he whispered to himself, "Tomorrow, I'll find out." At dawn, Aryan packed a flashlight, water bottle, notebook, snack, and the compass. He left a note for his grandparents. "Gone exploring. Be back before lunch." The forest welcomed him with warm sunlight and fluttering butterflies. But as he walked deeper, the light faded. Vines curled along the ground, tree trunks had odd carvings, and the air turned cool and misty. The compass pointed straight ahead, unchanging. Then, he heard it again. "Aryan, Aryan." His name. He froze. "Who's there?" Silence. Then rustling behind him. He turned quickly. Nothing. When he looked back, he gasped. A monkey stood on the path. It wore a leafy hat and carried a small pouch. Its eyes sparkled with curiosity. "Hello?" said the monkey. Aryan's jaw dropped. "You can talk?" "Of course," said the monkey casually. "Name's Tuco. Been waiting for you." "Me? Why?" Tuco pointed at the compass. "You have that. The jungle has chosen you." Aryan glanced at the glowing compass. "Chosen for what?" "A quest," said Tuco. "Follow me, the forest will explain." Still stunned, Aryan followed Tuco through a glowing trail. Mushrooms lit the path, and the trees seemed to shift gently as they passed. Soon, they reached the tall stone with the owl carving. Mist curled around its base like breath. Tuco grew serious. "This is where it begins." Just then, a low growl came from the mist. A shadow moved. A giant black panther emerged. Its green eyes glowed. Aryan stepped back, trembling, but the panther sat calmly. "Welcome, child of the compass," it said in a deep voice. Aryan could barely breathe. "This is real?" "Yes," said the panther. "More real than you can imagine." As soon as Aryan agreed to help, the jungle seemed to respond. The leaves rustled louder, the air shimmered, and the compass in his pocket pulsed with a warm glow. The Black Panther, now introduced as Ragvan, turned and led the way deeper into Van Raksh, while Tuco, the monkey, leapt playfully through the branches overhead. Beyond the owl-carved stone, the jungle-transformed trees rose taller. The light dimmed under thick foliage, and glowing vines hung like natural lanterns. Ragvan explained that Van Raksh was once protected by 5 powerful guardians, each tied to a part of the jungle's magical heart that kept everything in balance. But one by one, those guardians were vanishing, and dark forces were rising. Aryan, still in disbelief, but filled with wonder, followed quietly, the compass always pointing straight. As they walked, the jungle began to feel alive in a different way. The trees seemed to lean in, the silence was thick, and Aryan noticed that the usual forest sounds faded away. They passed through a bamboo grove where the wind formed whispering riddles and crossed a silver river on an ancient rope bridge. Tuco tried to keep things cheerful, with jokes and forest songs, but Ragvan remained alert, his ears twitching at unseen dangers. Suddenly, a low growl stopped them. Ragvan sensed something near. A faint hum filled the air, rising quickly as a swarm of glowing blue insects burst from the canopy. "Memory wasps," Tuco yelled. "Don't let them sting you, they show your worst fears." But it was too late. One stung Aryan, and instantly he was lost in a terrifying vision of being trapped, alone in the jungle, vines wrapping around his legs, as he screamed with no one to help just when panic took over. Ragvan roared and swiped through the swarm, breaking the illusion and scattering the wasps. Shaken but safe, Aryan realized Van Raksh wasn't just magic-hallet, was dangerous, and it would test him. They continued until they reached a rocky cliffside with ancient carvings of animals and symbols, one of which matched the mark on Aryan's compass. This was the entrance to the Path of the Panther, a secret trial that only the chosen could complete. Ragvan told Aryan the trial would not test strength, but heart, truth, and courage. Arian entered the narrow passage, lit only by the compass, and a torch Tuco carried, finding murals along the way that told stories of ancient guardians and a shadowy figure stealing the jungle's heart. Finally, Arian stood alone before 3 stone doors each marked with a symbol: fire, water, and tree. A voice whispered, "Choose the path that reflects your spirit." Remembering his love for nature, Arian chose the tree, stepping into a maze of vines and illusions, faces of failure, fear, and doubt. But he pressed on, repeating, "I'm not afraid. I'm here to help." At the end, he found a glowing stone with Ragvan's mark when he touched it. A surge of light flowed into the compass. Arian had passed his first trail. After saving Kari, the Serpent of Shadows, Arian felt stronger, but also more worried. 2 guardians were now awake, but 3 were still missing. Ragvan told him the next guardian was Pavana, the Eagle of the Winds. She lived high in the cloud peaks, mountains that touch the sky. "She controls the winds of Van Raksh," Tuco said. "And without her, the air feels still, like it's holding its breath." Arian looked up at the distant misty mountains and nodded. The journey began early. The jungle slowly turned into rocky hills, and then steep cliffs. The air got thinner and colder. Sometimes, Arian slipped on loose stones, but Ragvan helped him climb, and Tuco cheered him on. They passed tall trees that bent with old age, and stone towers carved with eagle feathers. The compass pointed upward, glowing softly. "We're close," Ragvan said. Suddenly, the wind stopped. Completely. The forest went silent. Leaves didn't move. Tuco whispered, "No wind at all. That's not right." They climbed higher until they found a flat stone ledge with a tall pillar in the center. On it was carved a message: "Only the one who trusts the wind may fly." Arian stepped forward and the compass glowed brightly. A strong gust of wind suddenly returned, spinning around him. It lifted leaves, dust, and his hair. Then the wind turned into a voice. "Why do you seek me?" it asked. Arian answered, "The jungle is in danger. I want to help." The wind grew stronger, then formed into a shapa, huge eagle made of wind and light. It was Pavana, but she looked tired, her wings flickering like smoke. "Darkness has trapped me in a sky cage," she said. "You must set me free." Tuco pointed up. "Look!" High above, floating in the air, was a glowing cage made of storm clouds and shadow ropes. Arian had no idea how to reach it. Then Ragvan stepped forward. "The jungle will help." As soon as he said that, roots rose from the ground and twisted into stairs. Vines turned into ropes. The wind lifted Arian higher as he climbed. Lightning cracked in the sky cage, and strange flying shadows tried to block his path. Arian swung, dodged, and held tight to the vines. He remembered the words, "Only the one who trusts the wind may fly." So he closed his eyes, spread his arms, and jumped. The wind caught him. It carried him through the storm, straight to the cage. He touched it with the compass, and light burst out. The cage shattered. Pavana let out a loud cry, strong and clear. Her wings spread wide, and the skies cleared. She flew down and landed beside him. "You believed in the wind? You believed in me." A single silver feather floated into Arian's hand. The compass absorbed it, and a gentle breeze swept through the forest again. 3 guardians had returned. Arian looked at the horizon. "Who's next?" he asked. Ragvan replied, "The hardest one, the guardian of fire." After completing the path of the panther, Arian felt stronger. Ragvan, now walking beside him instead of leading, explained that the next guardian they had to find was Kari, the Serpent of Shadows, who protected the western swamps of Van Rakshlands, feared even by the bravest creatures, where fog never lifted, and the ground whispered secrets beneath your feet. Tuco warned Arian, "If Kari has gone silent, it means something's terribly wrong." And with that, the 3 began their journey toward the Shadowmire, a place Arian had seen marked with warning symbols on his map. As they moved west, the trees grew gnarled and crooked, roots rising from the earth like claws, and a greenish mist hung in the air, thick with the scent of damp earth and something sour, like rotting fruit. The deeper they went, the more unnatural the silence Becamino birds, no insects, just the soft squelch of their footsteps in the mud. Suddenly, Arian noticed the compass flickering, its needle trembling slightly, and before he could speak, the ground beneath him shifted, swallowing his foot. He struggled, but Ragvan pulled him free just in time. "Stay close," the panther growled, his eyes glowing faintly. "The swamp plays tricks." Eventually they reached a massive fallen tree shaped like a coiled serpent, its hollow interior forming a tunnel into the heart of the swamp. Inside, they found strange symbols carved into the wood, and glowing blue moss pulsing softly along the walls. At the end of the tunnel, they emerged into a clearing, filled with twisted statues of animals frozen mid-run, mid-leap, their eyes wide in fear. These weren't always stone, Tuco whispered, his voice shaking. Just then, a hiss echoed through the clearing, long and cold, and from the shadows slithered a massive serpent, its scales black as night, with silver patterns like lightning bolts running down its back. Kari, or what remained of her. Arian could feel that something was off. Her eyes weren't calm like Rogvan's, but glowing red, wild with rage and confusion. She's been corrupted, Rogvan said grimly, stepping forward. The darkness has reached her. The serpent struck without warning, forcing Rogvan and Tuco to dodge aside, while Arian ducked behind a boulder. The compass in his hand pulsed stronger, and suddenly it cast a beam of light toward Kari, making her hiss and recoil. Arian realized this light didn't hurt. Herrick cleared her. He climbed atop the stone, holding the compass high, shouting, "You are a guardian. This isn't who you are." Kari's body thrashed violently, but the beam pierced through the darkness, which floated into Arian's hands. Rogvan approached and bowed slightly. You reminded her who she was. The compass absorbed the scale's energy and glowed brighter than ever. 2 guardians down, Arian knew the darkness was spreading faster than they'd thought, and the real battle was still ahead.